Hello and welcome to BricksNShticks. My name is Lachlan and today I'll be taking a look at LEGO set 75369 Boba Fett Mech. This set comes with 155 pieces, is rated for ages 6 and up, and would cost you around 24 Australian dollars or 16 US dollars if you feel so inclined. On the front of the box, we can see Boba Fett within his mech flying out of a battle like the absolute boss he is, as well as the other regular stuff you would normally expect to see here, like the LEGO and Star Wars logos. We also see the one and only minifigure that comes within this set, which, hold your horses, this might be a surprise to some of you. We get Boba Fett. The side of the box is pretty standard, showing the same image of the set that we see on the front. And on the top here, we get a much better look at this set's 1:1 scaled minifigure, being none other than, of course, Boba Fett. On the back of the box, we see that thankfully, Boba is not locked into the mech once the set has been built. We also see how to use the stud launcher in case for any reason you are unsure of how it works. We also see promotion for the two other mechs that were released alongside this one, being Darth Vader and a Stormtrooper. Now, as I built this set quite a while ago, unfortunately I don't have the footage of what was inside the box, but I can tell you that it was 3 numbered bags, a small extra bag for those helmet accessories, and the instruction manual. Now, before I look at the mech, let's have a quick look at Boba Fett. The minifigure, that is. The minifigure of Boba Fett that we get in this set is incredible, with tons of printing from, quite literally, his head to his toes. Boba's helmet is covered in wear and tear, with silver showing through where his helmet has, in universe, lost paint. Right at the top of Boba's helmet, we see a pretty standard rangefinder, a piece that will only get rarer from here on out as LEGO has finally released an updated version in the new UCS Jango Fett Starship. If we look to the other side of the top here, we can see some more awesome printing. And if we focus our attention now to the bottom half of the helmet, we see a bit of dark green used to emphasize the shape of his Mandalorian helmet. Moving down, and the printing on his torso is somehow even better than what we see on his helmet. All of the details that should be here are here, including once again marks of damage that has been done to his armor. And if we focus down on the legs, wouldn't you know it, we see even more printing, showing details of creases in his pants, his armored kneecaps, and his boots. Both of Boba's arms have heaps of great printing, with his right arm showing even more battle damage, as well as the top of the Wookiee braid that is quite prominent on his chest. And his left arm has pretty much the same details, but instead of the Wookiee braid, we see the insignia of the Mythosaur and the wrist rockets. Unfortunately, LEGO did not give Boba a small cloth piece to act as his shoulder cape, which is pretty weird, especially when you consider how much detail he got otherwise. Moving around to Boba's back now, and LEGO gave him his signature jetpack, with once more some awesome printing underneath. And the jetpack isn't the only accessory LEGO gave to Boba. He's also got his blaster, made up of 2 pieces. And if we take his helmet off, we see an awesome print. Now, as great of a Boba Fett minifigure as this one is, something that I think is even better is giving this video a like if you're enjoying it. And of course, subscribing to my channel for more reviews like this. And trust me, you will want to subscribe. I've got some awesome things coming up in the pipeline. But for now, let's find out if this mech carries the set across the line to truly be worth your money. To start things off, this is certainly not accurate to the in-universe lore of Star Wars. But if we look past that, it's certainly not terrible. As I do with just about every set I review, let's work our way up to see if LEGO was kind of onto something here. The feet on the mech are certainly interesting, having 3 claw-looking attachments on the front to possibly help Boba on some crazy missions. Both feet are attached using these ball joints, which just so happens to allow for some really great articulation in the ankles. Moving up the legs, and LEGO managed to make the knees here the right color, matching up with Boba's armor. Unfortunately though, they do not have any articulation, which for stability reasons makes a lot of sense. Once you reach the mech's hips though, we do find some more articulation, allowing you to place the mech in tons of different poses, and also meaning that the lack of articulation in the knee joints is not nearly as noticeable. Here we also find some clip pieces on the belt to connect Boba's blaster to when he is inside of the mech. Talking about that, getting Boba inside of the mech is relatively straightforward. By moving up slightly from the hips, we can see this chest plate, which, may I say, uses a really nice 2x2 printed tile. By pulling this down, we can see this small black piece that we can stand Boba perfectly on. Closing up the chest plate is just as easy as opening it, and once it is closed, Boba is quite secure in there. Both of the arms on the mech also use the ball joints that we saw earlier on the legs. The left arm has a dark red tile to represent Boba's insignia, and it would have been nice to see some printing here, but it does still get the point across good enough, in my opinion. The rest of the arm is how you would expect an arm to look, along with a small rocket located on the wrist, which you might just perchance call a wrist rocket. As we move around to Boba's right arm, we can see this surprisingly nice jetpack on the back of the mech, which, may I say, does more than just look good. The rockets here also act as flick-fire missiles, allowing you to blow your enemies sky high. And personally, the jetpack is my favorite part of the mech itself, both in terms of how it looks and its functionality. But now, onto the right arm, and again, it is as you would expect. This side does not have that dark red piece, nor the wrist rocket. Instead, we have this massive gun. Though I built this set over a year ago, I can still remember thinking when I first built it that this gun looks a little bit funky. And I think that M&R Productions puts it perfectly when he says,
"It looks like an old-timey film camera, and I can't get that out of my head."
And look, I can see what LEGO was trying to do here, and all the credit to them, but the proportions are just completely off. To me, it feels like an accessory that LEGO would give to brickheads if they were doubled in size. And yes, this gun is indeed going onto my list of things that I would love to modify one day. As for the features we have here, LEGO did include a stud launcher, and it definitely does affect the look of the rifle, but I'm still glad that it is here regardless, especially since, this set is made for kids. The mech as a whole is certainly not the most accurate thing that LEGO has put out within recent years, and I probably wouldn't have bought the set if it did not include the Boba Fett minifigure. But I am actually quite happy that I did buy it. Because of the angle that the knees are locked in, it allows for the mech to sit with a good amount of stability, at least on flat surfaces. This makes the set surprisingly good to display on a desk, or really anywhere if you just want a nice little touch of Star Wars. I also really like the fact that LEGO decided to use the helmet on the Boba Fett minifigure as the helmet for the mech. I would like to see what a brick-built helmet for this mech would look like, so I guess I'm just gonna have to build it myself. Eventually. When LEGO first revealed this set, myself, like many others, were quite skeptical as to what LEGO was thinking. But after building the set and unironically having it on display for over a year now, I'm honestly a massive fan of it, even with the weird proportions of the mech and Boba not receiving his shoulder cape. And that's why, when writing the script for this video, I was quite surprised by the fact that this set had already retired. This set was released on the 1st of August 2023, and retired at the end of last year, 2024. Now, normally, LEGO sets would survive on shelves for at least 2 years, but unfortunately, this set saw the axe earlier than normal, at around 1.5 years. Which, even though I was not planning on buying another, I think it's a little disappointing that the set is off store shelves, as it was, at least in my opinion, a severely underrated set. And do I think that it was very overpriced? Yes, I do. With that being said though, I would still highly recommend purchasing this set, even if it is just to get that Boba Fett minifigure. At the moment, you can still find this set online for pretty close to its retail price. So if you're thinking of picking it up for either yourself or as a gift for someone you know, I would strongly suggest that you do that sooner rather than later. For now though, why don't you go check out my review of the Captain Rex Y-Wing Microfighter set to find out how something so small could be shrouded in so much controversy. But until next time, take care and talk soon.